we're back at Wise Women Weekdays. I'm Marianne and we've got Alan Branch back. And Alan Branch brought his lovely Anne with him this time.
I've been allowed.
Yes, you've been allowed. So, popular demand. Alan, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about panic attacks, which was a very well received interview. So as you spoke so lovely about your darling wife Anne, so we thought we'd bring Anne in. And literally what we're talking about today is, you disclosed your age, you're 85 and 82, and just how did you get to this age, still being well, active, healthy?
I've never been asked that, and I haven't a clue.
You haven't got a clue. Well, it's probably a lot of this is probably more in the hands of Anne.
Yes. Good genes, maybe.
Well, that's got a lot to do with it, isn't it? Yeah, my mother was 93 when she died, so she did well. Yeah.
Strong, determined woman, and Anne doesn't put it out, but she is a strong, determined woman, and positive, generally, aren't you?
Yeah, but you carry me along, I think, quite a lot.
Well, we're good. Worked out well. I know my place.
Well, yeah, that's good. I'm pleased to hear that.
Yeah.
But
I think sometimes you just manage to pick someone that's right for you, don't you?
Yeah, very lucky these days.
Yes.
And also I think you're still part of a generation that don't just give up. I think a lot of people these days give up.
I've talked to you a lot about it. You just press on. You try and see the positive side of everything. I think I try to, even though the panic things set me back a long way. You still keep pushing on. You still hope that there's a good time coming, and you just don't give in.
Well, you're extremely positive. You are much more than me. You know me. I'm the glass half empty. He's the glass half full. So I suppose it works.
I think when you go back, if we go back briefly a little bit to your panic attack stage, that more influenced the career you probably would have gone for.
And my attitude to life. But thank God it never stopped me trying. I never got anywhere, but I didn't seem to. I know I have, but it did colour it. I don't know if I'd have been any different if I hadn't had them. For some reason or other, neither my mother or father were positive people, and it's sort of a bit of a throwback, really.
Yeah. So, how did you meet? Do you want to talk about that? How you met, and whether it was sort of an instant
I was in the Air
recognition
Force. I was in the Air Force at the time. I was stationed at just along the way towards Bexhill, and it was a lovely year, and we went on the beach looking for girls, me and two others, and it was, don't mean this just differently, but it was pretty sparse. We went right along the beach and there was nobody about. I think it was midweek, and then on this beach,
it was a Thursday.
I saw this little figure by the seashore, and we went and sat on the beach and stared at her, and Anne was aware of us, and very doubtful what her intentions were, I think. And for me, it happened that day. I just fell for her.
I'd just come back from Jersey, so of course I'd got a tan, so I probably looked, reasonable. And then you started throwing stones at me.
Oh yeah, we wanted to wake her up a bit. We knew we'd got her attention, but
I don't think that is what you call them.
No.
What's the word? Foreplay.
More 5 or 6. But it started from there. We had a lovely summer.
Yeah, but
it was very summery.
What I find incredible that this just shows this was 1959. In the end, I actually got into this car with these 3 fellas. I mean, what was I thinking of?
We were Air Force.
I know, but
trusty.
These days, if somebody told you they'd done that, you'd say you stupid, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
God. But anyway, I got home, so it was all right.
Well, did you get in the car on your own, or the other girls as
No,
well?
I was on my
You were
own.
on your own?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was nobody with me. Yeah.
Oh,
It was my last day before I had to go back to work, so I thought, well, I'll just top the town up a bit. And, yeah, so we went out to the pictures, didn't we, that night?
Idle on parade.
Yeah, Saturday newly. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, I think it could have gone either way. I mean, on the day that we went to the cinema, I'd already got a date with a nurse from Bexhill. And Anne was standing outside the cinema, and I was on the opposite corner telling this nurse I couldn't see her that night. But I knew it. I was so lucky, I just knew. And bearing in mind I hadn't got 2 brain cells to put together at that age, I was about 20, wasn't I?
You were just coming up to 21, weren't
21,
you?
yeah. And green as the grass, but I was just besotted. And been that way ever since.
Yep.
But as to survival, I don't know. It's you've helped a lot with the vitamins, and I can talk to you about attitudes as well, which is similar to mine. And
probably because we're both Geminis.
Oh, yes,
oh,
of
that's
course.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The glass is. I don't know. Some Geminis just the opposite. The glass is always half empty, but it's a tough question you've asked. We've got to our age, a lot of luck, genes, lovely family.
I try to think of all the decades that we've gone through. You know, first of all, it was children, bringing them up. That's not an easy job. Then you sort of go into work. I mean, we've worked together for 40 years, haven't we?
We've been I don't know how that's done.
And, you know, we didn't seem to fall out.
Every day we've sort of been together, haven't we? But I think the answer is we're lucky insofar as we're good friends. That's the secret, or one of the secrets, I think.
And you make me laugh a lot.
I don't mean to.
Well, it's funny enough this morning because I had to delete a few videos to record this, and I came across the video because you talked in the previous interview about what was that again? Who you listened to when you're in bed, and here she listened to
Bernard Manning.
and then you told a joke, and I recorded the joke, and I actually listened to that this morning.
I said to him, why on earth did you tell everyone you'd listen to him? Because he's persona non grata, wasn't he?
It empties your mind. You have a good laugh. You stop worrying about things, and if you go to bed having a good laugh, you've got a good start.
Laughing is definitely one of the key things in life. You know, it helps you with like a feel good hormones and all that, but it does,
I think there's a lot of people, in fairness, like us. You don't hear about them. You only hear the sort of tragedies or the bad luck or these sad stories. There's more people that get married as long as we have.
There's more,
and
I think.
stay the course and ride over the rough bits. And there's been rough bits. And you just ride over them. But there's more of us than there are the others. You know, it's
I think,
not alone.
Yeah, compromise too. You know, don't always think you're going to get your own way. Compromise.
Yeah.
And
I also think so. Like, how long have I known you now? 7, 8 years, 10 years.
At least 10,
probably
10 years. Yeah. So what I have observed is that your whole interest is very varied. You know, you're like lots of different things. So you go to quiz nights. Your knowledge is so diverse, which I think amazes me. You know, enormous. I think all these things are important. You know, you like cooking, but you like cooking from fresh, and so many people don't eat from fresh anymore. We're here at Ellen and Anne's house. You know, you've got your garden, you grow vegetables. Your interest is like, even if I come with something new, you know, it's not like you go like, oh, but you then are interested and you want to, you know, you Google things and you go and read about it. So and this is, you know, one of the really positive things I find.
Yeah.
That, you know, about.
Yeah, I don't think you never stop learning, do you? Never stop learning. It's always. I love people. I'm always like being around people as well.
Yeah, Anne's very much a people person. I'm not. I don't make friends that well. You're my friend. But it's very difficult for me to let myself go with people. I don't know, maybe it's the business I've been in. It's been a funny old business. You meet some funny old people. You see the probably darker sides. Yeah, it's I don't know. We're always hand in hand. Don't think anymore. Mind you, if we weren't hand in hand, we'd fall over, I think. But we went for a meal the other day with the boulders, and we came out of the door to go to our cars, and we held hands from the door to the car. I found that odd, and I told you about it. Just 10 yards, we held hands to go to the car. And some of the people, I'm sure, certainly the ladies are going, you know, what's going on?
Yeah, but I think it's
rare.
really nice. It's nice.
There's some,
you know?
you do see how some other people holding hands. We're always, it's just natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
But every day is you wake up positive.
He's told me I've got to walk somewhere every day, and I said, well, we do quite a bit, but all weathers.
Yeah, but you have been really good. Like even in the COVID times, you still went out walking, and you weren't, although you were concerned, but you didn't let it totally grip you and lock yourself.
No,
you know, like some older people. You know, sometimes I even forget your age because of how you are and your, you know, well, in particular, like Ellen, and when Anne and I go out, you know, I just feel we're such good friends, and sometimes I forget there's the 20 plus years age gap. It seems like we have a similar attitude and similar likes, and you know,
it's the attitude. Your attitude's good, very, very positive, and it's easy to get carried along with it. If you're with somebody who is positive, it runs off. We've got a friend, he's retired now, a high-ranking policeman he was, and he's so sad, he's so miserable all the time. He always sees the bad side. He can't help it. You know, every day, sorry, my hands, I knew that.
Yeah, I noticed that in the other video.
Sorry, yeah. and I have a go at him, and his wife is buoyant, and you know, I sympathise with her a bit because I called him all the names under the sun, but I feel sad for him. But it's easy to do that.
Also, though, we're very, very family orientated, aren't we too? Unfortunately, you know, we're lucky. We've got our family round us. They're not all over the place like some people's. You know, one's only 5 minutes up the road. The other one's 10 minutes down the road. So,
I do think that is probably
it's a great
important to have. You know, good relationship with your children. And you know, the support network. You know, because you know that if there's a problem, that they will be there. And like you are there for them. You know, that's,
oh, definitely.
There's even some suggestions made that's why like royal families live that long, is because there's consistency in their life. You know, well, they're probably because they don't really have financial worries, although they might have other worries. But it's you know, it's the consistency of people around you and all that. That has.
There's always there's always something new you can take. Age is no barrier. No barrier to being positive and moving on. I mean, Anne's just taken up short map bowling. I mean, she loves it. At 82, I've got to tell you this, that she was on the bus. Have you told her this? She was on the bus going into Eastbourne with a lady that's 2 years younger, and they parted to do their shopping, and they met again on the way back. And they got on the bus, and it was quite full, and there were no two seats together. And a lady come up and said, "I'll move from here," and turned to the other lady and said,
"You and your daughter
can sit together." And She's an old East London landlady who calls a spade, and she says, you know, she was quite.
I don't look that rough, do I?
No, that's right. But there again, it comes out, doesn't it? That's why you two get on so well. I think, you know, it's and you can always do something like you go bowling. You can always see something there that you can have a go at and move on.
Yeah.
So it's in the mind, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is that the fact that Anne at 82 decides to take up bowling, you know, and it's and really, you know, you're not just think, oh, I'll do it, but you really do
into
it,
it,
you
yeah.
know. And,
I'm the eldest one there. Yeah.
We saw the captain almost of the team this morning. She says, I wish she hadn't joined actually because she's out stripping her.
No,
This woman's been
she was
playing
just
for a
being
long
kind.
time. No, I don't agree. I think you're very competitive, and I'm sure you're doing right. But as your question, why? It's a million things, isn't it? Really.
Well, the chairman that we spoke to this morning up at the Christmas market we went to this morning, she's asked you to join the committee, hasn't she?
Yeah, on the executive. God knows why. She sees things in me that other people don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's. I wondered about what I was going to say when I knew you were coming asking this question. Don't know. It's a million things.
Yeah, but these are like conversations. They you know, they flow like your previous one.
A really, really important thing for us. I can't stress it enough. Was finding dancing, the modern jive.
Yeah.
And it really opened up, and of course all the friends you make.
Yeah.
You know, it's
We would have been couch potatoes
Yeah.
if we hadn't found dancing, wouldn't we?
If somebody asked me what changed your attitude, look what the holidays we've had, and the times and Hailing Island and whatever, it's all sorts of people, isn't
But yeah, I mean, we were in our 60s before we went dancing. Weren't we? Yeah, till we were...
well into our 60s.
Yeah.
No, so many things. Very lucky, very grateful, good friends.
I also think there's one thing with Anne is you're writing your diaries. You want to say how that?
Yes, I was expecting in 1965, and Anna bought me a diary for my birthday. So I thought, well, okay. He said you might like to write things that happen to you while you're expecting and that. And I'm still writing it every day. So how long's that? 35, 58. 58 years I've been writing it.
Yes.
I keep hoping a policeman's going to come to the door one day and say, what were you doing on a certain date? And I can say, hang on a minute. Just get my diary. But
also often, you know, when I see you, you often say, do you know what we were doing 2 years ago today? And, it usually includes like really positive, you know.
Oh, I love it when things like that happen.
The temperature, what the temperature was like, and, you know, things we've done, people we've seen, you know, and I think that's all, again, really positive.
I think we love being alive. You know, we really do. That theory of you, what people really are frightened of. I haven't got that problem. I don't think so.
Yeah,
but it's just every day there's something new, isn't there?
Yes,
Even if it's a rollicking from the time I get breakfast to the time I go to bed. And it's one of them days where nothing I do works. I do everything wrong. I say the wrong things and everything else. But you get up next day, it's all gone, doesn't it? It's not.
Let's start again.
You don't hold grudges, which also is like an important thing, isn't it?
Oh, not half, yeah. But you made a difference to us.
Yeah, but I don't know you from before.
No,
I'm sure you were a similar person before.
Well, we were.
I know it's a compliment, but.
Well, probably you've probably given us an extra dimension.
Okay. I'll probably, you know, added, also a little bit the spiritual side of life. You know, we talk about that, which is maybe something you haven't really thought about.
I'm not aware of it.
No.
But I don't know, I'm a thinker. I know it.
If so. Yeah. I'm a doer, you're a thinker.
I sometimes think I don't know. It's certainly with a family. I can look at one of the kids or whatever, and just looking at them, I know if there's problems. You know, I'm on them. It's not very nice and not very welcome for them, but I'm on them all the time. And what's the matter? And usually I'll get it out of them. And but if I don't, Anne sometimes sees it and says, and Anne loads the gun, and I go along and fire the bullets and get all the brickbats.
But the thing is, that comes from a caring side, not from a controlling and that.
No, they sometimes think you're perhaps poking your nose in, but
I've been told a number of times.
It does really mean that we just care. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I know they've got to make some of their own mistakes, but you know, if you can avoid one or two, tell them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's a lot of wisdom in age, isn't it? Like in certain cultures, you know, they actually, if you go to like Eastern cultures, they really, honor the older people, you know, and they nurture the older people, and they know the wisdom is with the older people. But here they say, we'll just stick them in a little car and we'll go visit them every other Sunday.
Every other 6 months, No, God forbid that's going to happen one day, and one of us is going to be left. I don't know how that will.
Well, whatever
we can talk.
will be.
We talk about it sometimes, but you're not going to avoid it. And if I was left, you're kicking my foot. Am I not supposed to be talking about it?
I thought it was the leg.
I thought maybe it was a gentle nudge to shut up. But I'd never stay here. I'd have to get out. I couldn't come back without Anne in. You know, maybe it's the man thing as opposed to a woman. But
I thought you'd want to be.
I'd hate to leave here, but it's you, not the house. You are them.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Couldn't do it.
But that also could be a comfort.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
To you.
To know that I'm all around you.
A comfort.
I wouldn't want to leave. Let's see.
Because the memories are, are everywhere, isn't it? You know, you could just walk around the corner, and although, the person isn't physically there, but you can feel them, you can see them. Well, if you go to a totally new place I can only speak from my own experience, of course, because I've lost my husband 20 years ago. Yeah. And it's quite funny because when I see you and the way you are, it's very similar to how John and I were. Yeah. So that's and I see you and I kind of think that's probably how I would have been as well, because we used to, be hand in hand.
You were very close. Yeah.
We often sat hand in hand on the sofa. We worked together. We used to go to the office together for many, many years. Yeah. So there's quite a few similarities there.
I think there's an awful lot of people like that. Far more than there isn't. There's other couples we know that they can't stand each other. And it's such a life's so short. To every day's a blessing. I know that sounds very pompous, but every day, the older you get, every day is a blessing. Every day you can get up and wander around, go for a walk, shopping, all the everyday things. Most of the time we don't think about it. It's only you mentioning it that I suddenly thought, we probably do rub along.
Oh yeah, good heavens. Well,
and all the other women I know.
Well,
So what I also find interesting, in your case is, I sometimes come with certain suggestions about, before COVID, I often, because Ellen is diabetic, type 2 diabetic, you have been for many years. And of course I have been very interested in nutrition and health and have been for 25 years. So we often used to have conversations about starting intermittent fasting to try and get your blood glucose down, because even though
that's a tough one,
and even though you were put on like different medication, 1 tablet, 2 tablets, increasing tablets, but never really
beat it.
So I say, but you can by looking at your diet and looking at so what I like about you is that yes, there's been some resistance because it's a change, but also the moment you tried it on, you really tried it, and you've been looking and getting cookbooks and looking at keto diet. Because
we are what we eat.
Because in the COVID time, and probably rumors as well, when you always made an excuse like, oh, I have to go to work and I'm going out with my son and this, that, and I could never fast because we get up 5 o'clock in the morning and we go to these camps and all that. But then we went into a lockdown and I said to Anne, here's yours now, and literally within 3 days you went from blood glucose 12 to 5.
It was
a fantastic summer. You decorated the bungalow.
Without a doubt, it works. It's hard to do in this weather to have. You're better at it than I am, aren't you? You could easily fast.
Yeah, I could fast more, but you are a terrible feeder, aren't you? I mean, even after breakfast, you say, "What do you want for lunch?" And I'm thinking, "Oh God, shut up! I don't want to think about lunch yet."
I keep force feeding her stews because she needs building up, I think.
But I find for me, it's more the fact that yes, here you are. You were 82 at the time. I come with this. You take it on. You're excited about it. That this is happening. Less than a year later. Your GP, obviously your blood tests are getting better. Your GP, reduces your medication, and it's.
Mine is generally lower. It is low, and it's still low. And I shifted some weight. I got rid of a stone.
But you were feeling well when at a time when a lot of people actually felt worse because of the lockdown and because of the.
Touch wood, I feel great. I really do. Which does help when you're muddling along every day. It does help, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, don't look any age at all, does she?
No, she's amazing. But also, like all what we have to read, you still work a little bit. You still go out and do some work, or you go out and help people. You help your granddaughter sometimes. It's about. You're not sitting there thinking, "Oh, I'm too old. I can't do this." And although you try to persuade me, sometimes you're too old to dance, and I'm not having it. Like after COVID, you didn't really want to go back dancing.
No.
Well, it seems a long time that we didn't
with a break,
dance.
I've forgotten all the moves I learned and everything else.
And also because the venue we used to go on a Tuesday night that closed down, never really opened.
But we made up. It's growing back again.
I just I dragged you to rock and roll for over a year on a Tuesday night.
It's a huge thing, dancing. People, doesn't matter what it is, line dancing, ballroom dancing, whatever it is, the fact, so I wrote it down, the fact you're meeting people of the same sort of temperament generally, chatting, laughing and everything. What a boost, isn't it? And you're exercising.
For me, the dancing started after John died, and a friend of mine suggested to go dancing.
That was Karen, wasn't it? Was it Karen?
No. I started doing modern jive because of Karen.
All right,
I started with salsa and ballroom and Latin because of a friend in Uckfield. And then, when I met Karen, she was doing modern jive, and initially I said, "Oh no, I'm already doing the other things." But as soon as I did in
you took to it.
2009, I just loved it. I loved the atmosphere and the people, and it just opens up your, a whole new world.
Yeah, you can dance to anything.
Yeah,
can't you?
It's when you have a love for music as well. It's just really So I've tried most things. Tried Argentine tango, ballroom tango, West Coast swing. During some of the holidays, done some East Coast swing. I just love all of it, really.
I just like going to chat.
Yes, yeah, well, that's important too. But the thing is, you can dance, you know.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not-
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's different to everybody, but the basic is the feel good factor. Now, it's very difficult to be down when you're laughing and joking. In my case, with lots of lovely women that are full of beans, full of chat. You know, they're interesting, and I come back. Really, it does me good. And 2 or 3 days for her, I think, oh well, when's the next one? But we don't dance enough. There isn't the venues that there were.
No,
not locally anyway.
It's
I know
really changed.
If you're willing to drive a long way, you could go every night.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Well, this is
what I had in this is what I had when I lived in Uckfield, and my record was 11 nights in a row, because within living in Uckfield, you only had to go less than half an hour.
Yeah.
You know, you had Uckfield itself and Haywards Heath, Tunbridge Wells.
Brighton, would you have picked Brighton as
Hove,
well?
Yeah, you're right in the centre.
King
Yeah,
Alfred,
brilliant centre, wasn't it? Uckfield?
Yeah. Eastbourne, you know, it had so many. But yeah, it's so we've got New Year's Eve to look forward to.
Yes.
And halfway one at Hurstman Zoo.
Yeah.
The half. Yeah.
We're going to be going to that one.
Which is only 2 days before New Year, but
oh well, he'll just be ready for it then.
Yeah. Rehearsal, that is.
Yeah, it's
Well, life's just lovely at the moment, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there are some aspects of it, but that's life that aren't so good as they were, business and things like that. But you accept those, and you take up other things to take over from it. I mean, you can't wait till tonight, can you, for Strictly final? You've been talking about it for a week.
Oh, is that tonight?
Oh,
I used to watch it.
Nothing would it get me to go out tonight at all.
2 hours, she said, 2 hours.
And 5 minutes.
And 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so but it's the same thing, isn't it? It's that feel-good factor and the clothes and the...
just
you love it, don't you?
The colour and the energy, that they've got. Yeah, marvellous.
Well,
I don't know what else to say.
No, it's you could go over the same old subject, but
we just seem to jog along, as
there's more to it than that. It seems that way, but we keep trying these things, and we keep pushing. I mean, if it's raining, we'll go out for a walk. We won't just sort of sit back in the chair and read the paper.
No.
A lot of our friends locally are the same age. They've either lost their partners or their attitudes, like this friend of ours, the copper, and they're waiting for the last bus. And it's so easy to get up and change.
Much more difficult if you're on your own.
Yeah.
We are lucky.
Yeah.
To still be together.
Yeah, but your copper friend is not.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No. It's one of those things.
But for me, it's partly your open-minded, being open-minded about,
Yeah, about things. I haven't been as open-minded as you. You and I used to have words, didn't we, about things. About
I wouldn't call it words. I would call
long
it
discussions.
Differences.
Yeah.
Differences.
Difference of opinion.
It took me a while to realise that you'd pinned it, and once you do, of course, you think that's. God, you see so many things that prove what you said.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, but I didn't just suck it out of my thumb.
No.
For me, it was also something that somebody. It was actually one of my old bosses suggested to look at something to the UK column. And because the UK column openly showed that the government downgraded the COVID virus before we went into lockdown. And I remember standing there like, what do you mean downgraded? And it's just like,
it's a very big lobby now, isn't it?
yeah, but also the thing is, and this is something that I think is so important, and the fact is that we all look at life, and when we think that we wouldn't do something like that to people or to humanity, we wouldn't even dream about it. But there actually are people that don't really care about people. They live in environments that they probably never even come across people like you and me. Because they have so much money, and they will never go, it's all done private jets, chauffeurs, and
They've got bigger
and you just can't even imagine that people would do something like that, and that is because you wouldn't do it like that.
But they've got huge lifestyles to protect, and I don't say they're happy. They probably think they are because they've got lots of money, but really deep down they're just men and women like we are.
But I think it's even deeper than that, because initially I was really worried, and I was worried because I cared for severely disabled children, and I was not worried about me because I know I'm healthy. I've been to America and I had lots of tests done out of interest, and I know my body was healthy, but I was worried to bring anything into the children I used to care for. And then you hear that. So I already heard it afterwards, after we'd gone into lockdown, and of course we had lots of children that couldn't come to us anymore for respite, so we only had the children that actually lived with us. We couldn't have agencies, so we all had to work extra hours. Like that first month in April, I did like 120 or 130 extra hours, because as staff we had to cover. And then somebody sent you this link of the UK column episode where it shows that on March 19 the government downgraded the coronavirus to normal influenza levels, and the 25th we're going into lockdown. So these two things don't match up.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. And yes, I'm a deep thinker too, but I also believe in treating people well. That's how I look at life. So yes, from then on, I just started meeting other people and started listening to other channels and all that, and started talking about it, but not pushing it down your throat. Like I never said to you don't do this, but I did say to you think about it, or watch this, or look at that. Just get yourself informed.
Yeah.
And
I've got to break in here a bit. You say that, but I can remember Anne saying we went for our third jab. She said, for God's sake, don't tell Marianne we're having this. So you've not pushed it down our throat, but we were aware of we didn't want to
we didn't have any more after that, though.
No, we stopped there, and I am truly, I hope I don't regret it, I'm truly grateful we haven't.
Yeah. Well, if you know how many things are happening in the world at the moment, and like this morning, one of the channels I've been watching a lot is the High Wire in America, in Del Bigtree, who's he used to work for a main channel in America until he came across that some children get vaccine injured by childhood vaccines when they started doing the combination of the like MMRs, and there seemed to be more side effects with that than if you keep them separate, and so he did a documentary about that, and suddenly he was just fired and all that. And now I know everybody has a different opinion, and yes, I'm vaccinated, all my children are vaccinated, childhood vaccines and all that, and yes, my children are all fine. I never even thought about things like that. But I do agree is that if there's proof, if people do science and there's proof that these cocktails cause more problems than the singular ones, why are they making the cocktails? And why can't we talk about it? because we need to be able to talk about these things.
You become cynical. I think it's money. It's cheaper to give it all in one rather than 3 singles. That's it. That's the thing that comes to me, because it doesn't seem to be any reason why you'd shove in 3 into a small child.
Yeah, but like I just heard that my
out.
grandchildren just had a cocktail and they've been given 6
Already?
childhood vaccine. Yes, in one vaccine.
Right.
Yeah.
At
So
that age?
and the thing, the questioning I have done particularly is, and like I said this to my son when I heard that the twins had them, and I said, in nature, and this is for me the biggest question that I think is so valuable. In nature, a child or human being will never get those 2 diseases or 3 diseases at the same time. You will never get 2. You never get mumps and measles at the same time.
No.
So your body is never exposed to 2 diseases, 2 diseases at the same time. So why are they combining them? So suddenly a child's immune system has to deal with pathogens of multiple diseases. So
it's a lot to ask a small person to cope with their little bodies.
Oh yeah. And you know, so yeah, I find it important that we listen to people. We listen to people with that's why we always have conversations, and you know, and I would not have rejected you because you have a different opinion, and like you know, alongside my care job, I'm a complementary therapist, and I see a lot of people with cancer, and I will never say to people with cancer, you have to go and do this. I'm there as a support network with my therapies, but if you want to have a certain treatment, yes, you know, I will support that. You know, but if you don't want that treatment, I will support that too.
Yeah.
But the key is that you go inside and feel what's right inside. And because we all have a internal guidance system, whether things are good or bad for you. You know,
there's a lot of people now turn into homeopathic, and I mean, we talked to a lady this morning who's a
Podiatrist. Feet.
We got talking, and she was saying that you really ought to look after your feet, certainly being diabetic. In fact, I'm going to get her to come and cut my toenails, but she said there's more to that. When we come and see somebody's feet, you see so many things. Karen was given a session with a reflexologist, and she said it was incredible. It felt lovely. She had a lovely time, but she's going like this, and she says to Karen, "Your left lung isn't very good, is it?" It isn't. And something else. And of course, people now are turning to forget the GPs and whatever. Well, you can't find them anyway. And my niece is in hospital in Red Hill, very seriously ill. There's possibly cancer. You know, it really is traumatic. And when they ring up to try and find out how is she, and this is my sister who's 82, she's worried sick. You don't get anybody to answer the phone, or if you do, there's nobody here that you can talk to. And that's been going on for a week, 10 days. She's had the checks and things, so you think, right, we'll find out, you know, the scans, nothing. And she wants to go there. They want her to go home, probably get the bed, and they can't.
She's got to have a PICC line. Do you know what that is? Yeah.
And they can't find a nurse to visit her regularly to put the antibiotics. It's sepsis she's got.
She has sepsis.
Yeah, and it's all gone to bloody bits. Sorry, it has all gone to bits. And I mean, you meet these.
But the thing is that well, we knew that things aren't really as they should be, and whether, you know, these things are done on purpose or just evolved like that. I have a mutual friend now, who was a NHS director, so we know a little bit sometimes what goes out, what goes on behind the scenes. So it's not all accidental, and you know, the people that are hired by the government to change systems that are working well, and then they don't care that they spent millions and the services don't work well anymore.
When we first moved to Polgate, which is in '67, there were two doctors' practices? Or one? Or anyway, there was about 8,000 population, and we were very well looked after by Indian doctors, who I didn't like to begin with, but it turns out I thought they were the best ones you could have. You know, they were really brilliant. The population around here has at least doubled, and we haven't got a doctor's surgery worth the name. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it's just go and see the chemist. Won't be long before you go and see the taxi cab. He'll know. You know, it's what can you do?
Keep well.
You said it. Keep well.
Yes, I personally think that you know, it's really important. You know, self-care is so important.
Do the best you can.
What I find really difficult to understand is that, like, was it now 4 years ago? 5 years ago? When did my mum die? Was it 4 years ago?
4, no.
Yeah. So Anne will know the years better than me. So 2018. So that's
it will be 5 next in January then.
Yes. So in November 2018, I had to start going to Holland to put her in this nursing home because she couldn't even be in assisted living anymore. And I saw a therapist lady in Holland, and she tested me and she said to me, "Oh, your vitamin D is low, and I would suggest to, you know, supplement vitamin D, particularly coming into the winter." So I bought these tiny little capsules of her. And then I started looking into it, and so I was taking 1,000 IUs, and when I looked into it and researched a little bit about vitamin D, and particularly because stress, because I was under huge stress levels, because I was trying to work here and flying back to Holland, and you know, moving my mum and sorting the house out, helping my sister, and then going back and work and with a boss that wasn't particularly supportive. So I increased my vitamin D to 5,000 IUs. So I took that from November. Then my GP ended up signing me off to go back to Holland and look after my mum. So I was very lucky. I was with her for the last 9 days of her life, but I really kept up with the vitamin D because of the stress and the not sleeping well and all that. So in February, the end of February, my GP actually took a blood test, and my blood levels for vitamin D were 111. And he said to me, "Wow," he said, "I don't often see people that are over 100. So I said, "Well, what is the normal range?" And he said, "Well, the range is between 0 and 200. He said, "But according to the NHS, between 30 and 50 is sufficient." And I said, "Oh, well, you're going up to 200, and if you're 50, so even if you're 35 and you have your blood done by the NHS, your GP will say, oh yeah, yours under 30, the NHS supplements you." And I just couldn't believe that they're so now, you know, listening to like doctors and scientists, and mainly naturopathic doctors, that you really need to be in optimum level. Your vitamin D really needs to be above 80. You know, this is the
Where do you go to get these things in?
Well, these days you can just order blood tests online, and like Robert, my son Robert's just done it, and he was 78, I think. So
Karen had.
How do you?
You just can order them online. There's different companies. There's one for
but
male.
You've got to give them blood, though, haven't you?
Yeah, but you do the same as what you do with diabetes. You little finger prick and you squeeze it out.
Only need a little bit out.
Yeah, and then you send it off. You know, and then they give you the results, and then you can check your magnesium levels and, you know, all this different. So so I just now I look at these things very, very differently, and you know, this is why I think self-care, and yes, it does cost you, but what point is
you can't put a price on it.
If you become unwell, and even with COVID, you know, I've not really been unwell. I tested positive once in August 2020. Was it August?
Like we do.
2020?
Yeah.
Just before you.
Yeah.
You know, and haven't had it since. And I've been with, like, when you were unwell, I came here, gave us different supplements. You know, my friend Mark was really poorly. I sat with him for 4 hours. I've just never been sick since then.
But
it's easy to take it for granted. I'm just sitting here listening to you. I'm on vitamin D. And I have an injection every 3 months if they actually put anything in the injection. Sometimes I think they don't.
That's the B12.
The B12, yeah. And, not vitamin D. And so they could check for that, because that's just as important as vitamin D, isn't it? B12.
Yeah, B12.
They're all important, but I mean, those two are the main ones. But vitamin D, we poke into us and we feel as white as rain, don't we? I mean, how much is due to that? You're giving us those.
But isn't 50 a very low? You know, they say anything between 30 and 50.
That's what my
borderline,
GP said. That's seen as sufficient according to NHS.
Just to keep you alive. Yeah.
But the thing is that if you then look at, because there's a really interesting Italian doctor that talks about vitamin D, and she reckons that a lot of things like autoimmune diseases, cancers, are linked to not having sufficient vitamin D3. But one of the things I didn't know.
D3.
Yeah, vitamin D. Yeah, D3 is what you take. This is the supplement you take. So what I did not realize about vitamin D, although, you know, I love the sun, you know, we really love the sun and we like to go out and, you know, just, you know, have our skin in the sun. But what I did not realize is that when you're older, your skin thins and you don't absorb it as well from the sun when you're older.
You told me that.
Yeah. So, you know, if they don't say, so like one of the things I thought with COVID, why aren't they giving all these old people in care homes, supplement them with vitamin D? But they didn't.
No.
You know,
but it's been mentioned since then, quietly, not just
but
from
it's
you,
not on the.
I've
It's
read
not on the. It should be headlines, shouldn't it?
I've seen it in the papers a couple of times.
It was
it's
something
been mentioned.
so easy to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And cheaper.
But also, what I find most peculiar, that you couldn't even talk about it. You couldn't even talk about things like that.
No.
And it's quite funny because I had an interview with Andrew about breath work, and we touched a little bit on the COVID time and might even happen to this one, although we're not saying anything wrong, and, you know, I'm not telling people what to do or whatever. This is just a conversation and people's opinion. But my previous interview, when you watch it now on YouTube, there's a NHS link to click on about COVID and to make sure you've had your latest booster. And you know, it's all this manipulation that's according to.
There's a lot of people still very frightened of it, aren't they?
No, but this is where the government and these big corporations like you know, YouTube and all the mainstream news, they just have one agenda and they just want people to be vaccinated, but they don't look like you know, there's an MP, a Conservative MP called Andrew Bridgen, and he had like 2 weeks ago on a Monday, he had people coming to talk about what's happened and talk about corruption and all that, talk about vaccine injuries, and it's not known. They don't let it known anywhere. They changed. So he hired a room for 120 people. Whoever does this up in Downing Street, changed his room last minute to 70 people, while the 120 people room was never used anyway. Then 2 people were going to be on Skype rather than in the room. They had no sound. One is an ex-Pfizer CEO, so he knows what he talks about. So there's the level of manipulation that there are these organizations, or from governmental levels or World Health Organization levels that you're only allowed to think in one direction. Yeah.
They only do that for one reason. They're just frightened you might find out something a bit, more.
It's
make
gone
you
right.
think
It's
a bit
gone right through. There's
differently.
an article in the paper today. There's a Tory MP and up in Doncaster, and it came up in a meeting or whatever. He said something like, "We can't take it anymore. Doncaster's full," and it is. It's full of people, immigrants, and it's filled the place up. They're throwing bricks at him. They're spitting at him. They're threatening his life, and they want him to stop being MP, and all because he said. And yet, he deliberately went round and did a survey of all the people. Well, as many as he could get at. Certainly in Doncaster High Street or wherever it is, 90% of them agreed with him. Doncaster is full.
No,
Well,
but the
it's
problem
this woke
is
rubbish.
Yeah. It's the woke agenda, which is a very small.
He's only thinking of the town itself.
Well,
though,
it's
isn't he?
the
He's not
facts.
doing it for his own benefit.
You can't get houses for your kids, and
But to be honest, like I'm 60. I was 60 this year, and when I left home when I was 18, and I initially first got married when I was 19. There were no houses for us then.
No.
There were Vietnamese refugees. They were given whole neighborhoods, whole areas of brand new houses were given to Vietnamese refugees. So it's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's
coming back to the thing that is why we seem so happy-go-lucky and fit at our age. I'm sitting here thinking I'm dominated by beautiful women. And it's made my life really wonderful. And as I said in a book the other day, all you lovely women that danced with me over the last 20 years, I am truly, truly grateful. And you're the reason, one of the main reasons why I'm still here. Happy. Thank you.
Oh, well, actually, that's a really fabulous ending. And yes. So, Anne, is there anything you would like to add to all these lovely gentlemen you danced with?
Well, yes. There's not as many as there used to be, but then I'm probably spoilt because of this one here.
But also, you probably want to say thank you to all those lovely women that you have chatted with.
Oh yeah, the women, yes, and I'm grateful sometimes that they take him off my hands. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Some people say to me, don't you mind, that he dances with all these women? And I said no, because he always comes home with me. So he can do what he likes while he's here, as long as he takes me home with him.
Yes, yeah.
I tried to, when I did what I've done recently, I won't keep mentioning it, I tried to analyse what pre-2019, what it was like, bearable when I lived and everything else, and the difference. And I could write another one on what's happened in the last 4 or 5 years. And it goes a lot to what we're talking about, what you've done, and the mind, the positivity.
Yeah.
It's so important. I feel so. I want to tell people, I think I read, do something as silly as get another haircut or whatever. There's so many things you can
change something.
Well, go forward. It's something you've not really wanted to do. I mean,
challenge yourself.
Challenge, that's the word.
Challenge yourself.
And my God, you survive it.
You
go out and it's a little step. I did it. I couldn't have done, something really stupid. Like I can go through Balcombe Tunnel now without a care in the world.
Well, it's really interesting since we did our panic attacks. How many people actually talk about that they've had panic attacks?
Everybody I talk to, I can't get at them. But 2 people recently, professional people, I happened to mention it. I got told off for mentioning it. And one of them is publican, hard-bitten man he is. He said, all 3 of my daughters suffer from panic attacks. One of them can't leave home. And then another person, I think it was the photographer, was it? He's got people in his family. It's so many people. I don't know whether it's what do you think? I mean, you've been there. What do you think it is? Why it's so?
I think it has a lot to do with stress.
COVID, do you think that
and-
made it worse?
Oh,
you know, the worry, the
100%,
fear.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then that's been really difficult because it's now looking back, and like in my case, because I've been so long interested in the mind-body link, and I've got a degree in psychology, and I did a bit of NLP, and which is linguistic programming. So I also can see what they've done with the government. Having the 3 words and the colors, and it's literally been like really trying to penetrate people's minds and creating that fear and
Control,
so that
isn't it?
means
Yeah.
that means that people's bodies are all the time have
Stressed.
are stressed
Yeah,
and have that
yeah.
adrenaline rush.
That's a killer, that's stress, generally,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
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 Well, I hope you've
anyway.
learned something.
Yes. Well.
I don't like the fact that you're into mind games. I don't like you reading mind
No,
games.
I'm not into mind games at all. I'm into positive mind.
You're to be watched.
Anyway, thank you, Alan,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for.
Thank you.
Oh, and he leaves me little love notes dotted about too.
Oh,
That I
okay.
find. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's another nice thing.
That is lovely.
Yeah, and I always keep them. I've got them all.
Or could you lend me £5?
No.
Oh, well, thank you,
Thank you
Alan,
very
and
much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Very enjoyable.